This is the story of a man who went fishing one day and found himself in an unexpected situation that would change his life and the lives of 2 animals forever. Deep in eastern Siberia, there's a wild river that rushes through the land, full of energy from the melting snow. It was early spring, and the river was waking up from the long winter. People in the area knew the river well. It was a perfect spot for fishing, filled with trout, grayling, and other types of fish. The man who was about to become part of this story had grown up near the river, and fishing there was something he'd done many times before. But today, he was hoping for something special, a big catch that would make the day unforgettable. He picked a peaceful spot on the riverbank, where the water was strong but not impossible to handle. There were no trees or bushes around to block his view, which made it an ideal place to fish. The man set up his fishing gear, taking his time and enjoying the peaceful moment. The sun was shining bright, and the river moved quickly, almost like it had its own life, rushing forward, ready to break free from the ice. The man had spent years fishing here, and he knew the rhythm of the river well. He sat down in his folding chair and began feeding the fish, understanding that patience was the key to catching something great. Little did he know, this peaceful fishing trip would lead him into something far more exciting than he had ever imagined. As the minutes passed, his patience paid off. The first fish, a big trout, tugged on his line. He grinned, proud of his catch, and dropped it into his bucket. Soon after, another fish, a heavy grayling, bit, followed by another trout. For a while, the man was so focused on his fishing that he didn't notice anything else around him. His eyes never left the river, and his hands moved quickly as he cast his line again and again. But then, a rustling sound behind him broke his focus. He turned, and there it was, a bear cub, no more than a meter away, staring right at the bucket of fish. The cub's eyes were filled with hunger, and its small body trembled with excitement. The man froze. He knew that where there was a cub, a mother bear was likely close by. Realizing the danger, he quickly thought of what to do. Without hesitation, he reached for a fish and offered it to the cub. The cub didn't hesitate. It grabbed the grayling with quick, hungry paws and gulped it down greedily. The man watched, amazed at how fast the little bear devoured the fish. But instead of finishing everything, the cub paused, picked up the leftovers, and disappeared into the forest. The man breathed a sigh of relief. For a moment, he felt safe again. He went back to fishing, but the strange encounter left him uneasy. He knew that where there was one bear cub, trouble might not be far behind. Still, he focused on his fishing, casting his line again and again. Time passed, and soon the river felt quieter. The fish had moved deeper into the water, and the man decided to wade in. He put on his waders, feeling the cold water rush around him as he carefully made his way through the river. His thoughts were entirely on the fish, and he didn't notice that the cub had returned. Suddenly, he felt something change in the air, a presence. He turned, and there it was, the same bear cub, now standing right beside him in the waist-deep water. The cub was staring at him, its eyes filled with hunger and longing as it watched each fish the man caught. The man paused, feeling a little uneasy. The cub wasn't acting aggressively, just desperately. The cub's eyes never left the fish, so the man slowly moved back to the shore. The cub followed, still staring, its small feet splashing in the water. When they reached the shore, the man felt sorry for the cub. He gave it a couple of fish, and this time, the cub took them and carried them into the forest, away from the man. The man was puzzled by the bear's strange behavior. Why hadn't the cub eaten the fish? He couldn't help but wonder what the cub was doing with them. His curiosity got the better of him, so he decided to follow the cub from a safe distance. He stayed hidden, careful not to disturb the animal. As he quietly trailed behind, he watched the cub make its way through a familiar path in the forest. Every so often, it would drop the fish, only to pick them up again, its determination clear. The cub led him deeper into the woods, and the man followed, trying not to make any noise. After a while, They arrived at a secluded clearing, a peaceful spot surrounded by tall trees. There, on the ground, was a large bear lying motionless. She was in terrible shape, her body covered in wounds. The man quickly realized that the bear had been injured, probably by poachers, and was too weak to move. Her breathing was shallow, and it was obvious she was nearing the end of her life. The cub had been bringing the fish to its mother, hoping they might help her regain some strength. The man's heart sank as he understood why the cub hadn't eaten the fish. It wasn't for itself, it was for the mother. The sight struck a deep chord within him. This wasn't just any bear, it was a mother fighting for her life to protect her cub, and the cub was doing everything it could to save its mother. The man's heart went out to them. He knew he couldn't just walk away. Without thinking twice, he rushed back to the river, gathering all the fish he had caught that day. He couldn't waste a moment, and quickly made his way back to the clearing. This time, he kept his distance. He didn't want to get too close to the injured bear. Instead, he placed the fish a few meters from her head, hoping the smell would give her the strength to stand. He wasn't sure if it would work, but he had to try. Time was running out. The river could wait. The bear's life was more important. After laying out the fish, the man quietly stepped back and headed toward the village to alert the authorities. He knew the regional hunting department would have the resources to help the bear. Later that day, the rescuers arrived, and they managed to save the bear. As the story unfolded, the man couldn't help but think about how things had worked out. If he had chosen a different spot on the river or hadn't gone fishing that day, the bear and her cub might not have survived. Sometimes, the right person ends up in the right place at the right time. By simply offering the cub a fish, the man had unknowingly set off a chain of events that saved 2 lives. The man's action, driven by kindness and empathy, changed everything in that small corner of the world. It showed that not everyone harms nature. Some people, like him, believe that every life, whether human or animal, deserves a chance. His simple act of generosity gave hope to a mother bear and her cub, reminding us that even the smallest acts of kindness can make a big difference, healing the world in ways we might never fully understand.